On the last episode of Beyond Compare Wrestling, Kensho and Tafik emerged victorious in their tag team match against the Brotherhood. After the match, Cameron Lewis and Isaac Taylor appear to have a falling out. Are the Brotherhood in danger of breaking up? Then, BCW World Champion Dirty Don revealed that his major announcement was putting a $1 million bounty on Benson Hicks. Anyone who can prevent Benson from challenging for the BCW World title will receive $1 million from Dirty Don. And in the main event, Amir Man looked to cash in on the bounty and hit Benson with a sneak attack prior to their match. But in the end, Benson was able to recover and pick up the win. With the $1 million bounty looming over Benson Hicks, will the number one contender make it to his BCW World title match against Dirty Don? Beyond Compare Wrestling presents BCW 37, No Risk, No Reward.
Put your hands in the air.
Making his way to the ring, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighing in at 210 pounds, Travis Watts.
Thank you for joining us here tonight on another action-packed episode of Beyond Compare Wrestling, and we are kicking off the action tonight a little bit NSFW, and by that I mean Travis Watts, one half of the BCW tag team Not Safe for Wrestling. He is coming in here tonight looking to make his singles debut, and that is because his tag team partner Jordan Jones is still on the shelf. We are coming up to almost a year ago that Jordan Jones competed in that Beyond Rules match against the tag champions, the Exiled, and he was put on the shelf. Travis Watts, he has been injured himself. He has just come back at the last pay-per-view, and he's making his singles debut right here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fancy Dan.
And here we go, a man who is not short on sizzle. Fancy Dan making his way here to the ring, and last week, as we saw in that lower third graphic, Fancy Dan competed against Grizzly Mack and came up on the losing end. And Fancy Dan challenged Grizzly Mack to help out his friend Benson Hicks. Grizzly Mack was going to look to cash in on that $1 million bounty, but Fancy Dan faced Grizzly Mack last week. So this match, originally scheduled for last week, has been postponed. It is here, right now. The bell is rung. The match is underway. This postponed match from last week is kicking off BCW action here tonight. Fancy Dan takes on Travis Watts. Travis Watts making his one-on-one debut here tonight on episode 37, No Risk, No Reward. And of course, we are partnered up with DraftKings, and they are giving us the betting odds for tonight's matchup. We got Fancy Dan coming in as the favorite, Travis Watts as the underdog. And goes for the cover here. This could be over quick. And of course, Travis Watts is the underdog because he is primarily a tag team competitor. But what I don't think DraftKings has factored in was Grizzly Mack absolutely devastated Fancy Dan last week. And as we can see here from some of these clips, Grizzly Mack really took it to Fancy Dan. He had a huge bullseye on that midsection. He targeted that midsection the whole match, and Fancy Dan, he is coming in here with taped up ribs. We did not see that when he was making his way to the ring. He had that jacket on, but we can clearly see now that he has another bullseye here tonight on his ribs. And I think if Travis Watts is smart, that is going to be an integral part of his game plan for this one-on-one match. Little malfunction at the junction there. Oh, well, right here. Fancy Dan, he's looking to do something big. Injured ribs be damned. He is going to fly right here, kicking it off hot with these two competitors. Fancy Dan, probably because his ribs are injured, he is going for broke, but that is a high-risk, high-reward maneuver to do at such a starting point in this match. And now he's going for the overdrive. Overdrive on the floor. Fancy Dan, he knows he's injured. He knows he's not coming in at 100%. Obviously, the medical staff has cleared him to compete. No wrestler ever truly goes into a match at 100% when you are going up and down those roads. Fancy Dan goes for the cover here, only a 1. Fancy Dan, huge target on those ribs, not 100%, knows he's got to come in here, do something big, do something fast. He's got to put this match to bed as quick as he can if you got those injured ribs. Oh, and he's got there the Poison Rana. Did not know what he was doing there. Thought he was going for the electric chair. Hits him with the Poison Rana. Travis Watts showing his resiliency, though, and this match has been all Fancy Dan. And if Fancy Dan can just keep this lead on Travis Watts, I think he's got it all sewn up here tonight. Got him on the top rope and looks like he's going for another big maneuver here. Rolls out, jumps to the top. Superplex to the middle of the ring. Picks him up and spins him out. Quick cover, this could be it. That could do it. 1, 2. 2 count only, and Travis Watts smartly rolls out to the ring. As we mentioned, tag team competitor. He is not used to these one-on-one kind of matches, and Fancy Dan crashes and burns. Travis Watts rolling to the outside. That is sort of the singles match equivalent of going to your tag team partner and getting the tag. He needed some time to recover. And Travis Watts, he created that opening for himself. Rolled to the outside. Fancy Dan went for another risky maneuver, and there was no reward on that one. He crashed and burned. And the way that he crumpled when he hit it just really looked like it jacked up his neck, jacked up his back, and likely jacked up that midsection. When you come crashing like that, and all that G-force just goes from your head and shoulders and chest all the way down to your toes, that is going to rattle those ribs. That's going to rattle that midsection. Oh, and a big body blow there from Travis Watts. And another big body blow going for those kidney shots, liver shots. What's Fancy Dan got here? Picks him up into a suplex and sits out into a power bomb. Gets the feet over the shoulders, only a 2 though. And much like his name suggests, that was a fancy maneuver from Fancy Dan, but is he going for the dandy? Picks him up and hits him with that X-Factor maneuver. That's his finisher. Could this be it? Could he sew it up early? But only a 2 count. Travis Watts has a lot of resiliency. I don't think he gets enough credit for how much resiliency he actually has. And Fancy Dan with a big, huge splash. Oh, and Travis Watts rolls out again. And he is getting mad. Travis Watts is getting pissed off. He cannot seem to crack the code that is Fancy Dan. This match has been about 80-20 for Fancy Dan. Oh, now he's getting cocky, turns his back to his opponent, and Travis Watts comes in and hits him with that knee smash right to the face. Only a 1 count. Oh, and Fancy Dan going for some big, huge punches. He definitely learned those from his friend Benson Hicks. Benson is that former Golden Gloves boxer, and Fancy Dan coming out with some huge shots there. Oh, and Travis Watts just hits him with that backflip into the knee strike. That is a beautiful maneuver. Oh, and he's going here. Rolls him out and hits him with that GTS knee strike. That's one of his finishers too. Fancy Dan kicks out at the last second. Both these men making it a very game contest. As I mentioned, we have partnered with DraftKings because with the bounty on Benson Hicks, DraftKings has taken all the bets for who is going to cash in on that one, and they have generously provided some of the betting odds for all the matches here tonight. And although Fancy Dan was the favorite, it was fairly close odds, but I don't think DraftKings factored in that Fancy Dan is coming in here with those injured ribs. I think that would negate that slight edge that Fancy Dan had in the betting odds, and I think this is a pick'em. Fancy Dan came out of the blocks early. It was all Fancy Dan for the first few minutes of this match. But now Travis Watts is really coming into his own, really showing that he's a dangerous competitor all to himself. Oh, and kicks him right in the back to those ribs. Fancy Dan just clutching that midsection. And Fancy Dan, he's got to get back in the ring. He's got to keep doing some of those big maneuvers like he did at the beginning of this match. That was paying a lot of dividends for him. And on the flip side, Travis Watts, he's got to keep going for those ribs. There is a huge, massive target. And if he can just keep hitting maneuvers to those ribs, I think he will come out with the victory. So it's really about which competitor can implement their game plan. And some beautiful kicks, Kawada style kicks right to the face. That could be a knockout shot. 2. And we are going to have to see how the endurance of both these competitors plays out as this match gets deeper and deeper. Fancy Dan, normally a cardio and endurance machine, but with those ribs, that is going to sap every little bit of oxygen that you have, especially when Travis Watts hits a big elbow drop to that midsection. And again, going right for that. Oh, and a big shot there. Mixing it up, going body, and then a big shot to the head. Oh, it looked like he was going for the spear. The spear is what put Fancy Dan out last week when Grizzly Mack hit it. And admittedly, Travis Watts, he does not have the size and the absolutely chiseled physique of a Grizzly Mack. But hitting that spear, that is a smart maneuver. And these big elbows is a smart maneuver too. And Fancy Dan last week, when he challenged Grizzly Mack, I know he was trying to help out Benson. I know Benson has that $1 million bounty, and Fancy Dan was really trying to help him out, but that really put Fancy Dan at a disadvantage. He is injured, and Travis Watts, he locks in that abdominal snowman. As I mentioned before, if you have never had a rib injury, it is absolutely brutal. Travis Watts goes for 2 and 3/4 there, I think. A rib injury is absolutely brutal. There is no way that you can move that it alleviates the pain. And look at that maneuver right there. Speaking of pain, Travis Watts off the top rope with that mushroom stomp. I tell you this, if Fancy Dan did not have a severe injury to his ribs coming in this match, he definitely has one now. Travis Watts isn't the hugest guy. He goes about 220, 210, 220. But wow, when you come off with over 200 pounds off the top rope to the outside, crashing down on an already injured sternum of Fancy Dan with virtually no padding on the outside, all that energy, all that weight, all that momentum is going to transfer right into those ribs. And another elbow drop off the top, and I think this is getting academic. This is just going to be a matter of time. Could this be it right here? The 1, 2, and Fancy Dan kicks out. Fancy Dan, he is showing new levels of resiliency here tonight. Oh, and Travis Watts, he's going for his finisher one more time. Could that be the lights out? 1, 2. Oh, and Fancy Dan, look at that shoulder at the last possible second. And Travis Watts, he's getting frustrated. This is normally where he would tag out to his tag team partner. But he has got to figure something out because he is going for his singles debut here tonight. And a big, huge spear. Could this be it? Hooks the leg. 1, 2. Seals the deal. Travis Watts picks up a huge win. The underdog comes out with the victory. And it was that spear. Grizzly Mack started a trend last week, and Travis Watts, he capitalized on it here tonight.
Here is your winner via pinfall, Travis Watts.
This is an upset. Congratulations to Travis Watts. Picks up the win here tonight to kick off BCW action. Well, there we go. That encounter happened earlier today in catering. And right here, right now, we have Dirty Don versus Mr. GM in a 5-minute beat the clock challenge. There's some high risk and high reward for the stipulations in this match. Either Dirty Don will be the GM for the night, or the $1 million bounty will be called off. What's going to happen in this one? We're going to find out up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest BCW World Heavyweight Champion, Dirty Don.
Well, here he is making his way to the ring. Undisputed BCW World Champion, Dirty Don. He has been the champ since episode 3, but coming up, he has his toughest test to date. He will be defending that world title against Benson Hicks at the next pay-per-view, but that is provided that Benson even gets there. That is why Dirty Don has the $1 million bounty out on Benson Hicks. And we have seen Fancy Dan try to help out Benson. We've seen Mr. GM try to help out Benson. Dirty Don has stacked the odds against the number 1 contender, and all of Benson's friends are trying to help him out. And as we've seen, Mr. GM is going to try and help him out here tonight by removing that bounty. Can Mr. GM last the 5 minutes and get it done? We're going to find out. And here we go, the BCW matchmaker, Mr. GM. He is, let's roll that back. Perhaps maybe a bit of nerves from Mr. GM. He hasn't competed in the ring in a long, long time. He's never wrestled here in BCW yet, so maybe a touch of the nerves here. Just waiting for Mr. GM to come out here. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's going on here. Mr. GM made the match. He's in the building. I don't know where he is. I think we might have to take a quick commercial break. We'll get Mr. GM out here, and this match will resume after these messages. Well, we are back to action. Mr. GM has had about 2 minutes to get out to the ring. We have not seen him, so the referee has started the count. I do not know where Mr. GM is. He was here this morning. We saw the footage. The match was made. It was even Mr. GM that issued the challenge, so I do not know what's going on here, but no special treatment for Mr. GM. The referee has started the count, and we got some cameras looking around backstage for Mr. GM. Nowhere to be found. I don't know what's going on here. Why would you make a match and then not show up? There must be something going on. We saw the fire in Mr. GM's eyes. He wanted this match. He wanted to punch Dirty Don right in the face. But he is in danger of getting counted out here. The count's getting higher and higher. Well, just like that, winner via forfeit it is considered a forfeit. Mr. GM not even coming out to the match. Something must have happened in this one. Very uncharacteristic, like for Mr. GM to make a match, especially with himself in it, and not show up. So we're going to have to try and find out what happens, and we'll return after these messages again. Well, we are back to the action, and your eyes do not deceive you. That is Cameron Lewis in the ring with BCW World Champion Dirty Don. We still do not know what has happened to Mr. GM, but Dirty Don was out here in the ring, and Cameron Lewis came out during that commercial break and challenged Dirty Don to a Champions Challenge match. And for those unfamiliar, the Champions Challenge is anyone on the BCW roster can challenge a champion, be it Dirty Don or the tag champions, the Exiled, to a Champions Challenge match, which is a 10-minute time limit match. And if you are the challenger and you challenge the champion and you can beat them in that 10-minute time limit, you not only get a championship match, but you get it with the stipulation of your choosing. But conversely, it is high risk, high reward, because if the champion can beat the challenger will not be eligible for a championship match for as long as that champion is champion for. And as we can see from the DraftKings betting odds, Cameron Lewis, the huge underdog. Cameron Lewis, he is primarily a tag team competitor, and Dirty Don is the undefeated BCW World Champion, so Dirty Don is heavily favored in this one. But one X factor about Cameron Lewis is that he has been on the roll of his life recently. It was during that Christmas episode that Cameron Lewis competed against the tag team champions in primarily a handicap match, and there were times where I thought Cameron Lewis was going to beat the tag champs 1-on-2. So Cameron Lewis, he has a certain intangible about him. He has a certain X factor to him, and he is on the roll of his life. So this is exactly what the Champion Challenge is for. But Dirty Don just digging those nails right into the eyes of Cameron Lewis, kicking him in the gut and hitting him with this dirty driver, and he nails it. Dirty Don hitting that dirty driver. That is his finisher. Could it be over at it was almost over there at about the 3-minute mark going into this one. Dirty Don coming out with a huge lead. The Champions Challenge is a perfect thing for a Cameron Lewis, because if you're on the BCW roster, you get one Champions Challenge. You can cash it in at any point you want. So if you're on a hot streak, you think that you can beat one of the champions, you can challenge them. You don't have to be the number one contender. You can leapfrog the number one contender and get a title shot yourself. And when you throw in the added little extra bit that you get a championship match with the stipulation you want. If your specialty is a ladder match, you make it a ladder match. If your specialty is a hardcore match, you make it a hardcore match. You put yourself in the catbird seat to become the next champion, and that's what Cameron Lewis is doing here. We saw there was a bit of a falling out on the last episode with the Brotherhood. They have been on a cold streak in terms of tag team competition, but Cameron Lewis, he might be heating up on his singles journey. Hits that big knee strike there. That is one of his finishers, and then he goes for the frog splash. That is his finisher. Signature and a finisher. Can he put the champ away at about the 5-minute mark? 2. And Dirty Don kicks out. Last-ditch effort. Cameron Lewis really making up the difference here, hitting some big maneuvers. Dirty Don is usually the size underdog going into a match, but both these two, in terms of height, weight, and athletic ability, they're about even. Cameron Lewis probably a little bit faster, a little bit more agile than a Dirty Don. But Dirty Don is highly technical, and he's showing his agility right there and his speed coming off the ropes and hitting that clothesline on a Cameron Lewis. Dirty Don getting pumped and feeling it. And Dirty Don, he's got just over 4 minutes to put Cameron Lewis away and eliminate him as a potential challenger for the BCW World title. He's already got Benson Hicks to deal with, and he's just raking the eyes. Dirty Don does not care if he gets DQ'd. But Dirty Don raking the eyes, but with the referee out of vision to see it. Referee out of position, and then he hits the dirty driver. Referee right there now. 1. Dirty Don thought that was it. Usually the dirty driver puts his opponents away. It's put out big men like Tofik, Byron Cassidy, Tony Rizzo. Dirty Don just wrenching on the arm. Smart maneuver there. You don't have to win. If this goes the full length of the time limit, we have 3 judges to make the unofficial call. So Dirty Don, he's just got to stall for time. Obviously, he wants to get the pin. Obviously, he wants to fully eliminate Cameron Lewis from being a challenger, but sometimes just working all the limbs, keeping a Cameron Lewis grounded is a smart maneuver. Cameron Lewis, he's one of the best high flyers on the BCW roster. It looked like Dirty Don was trying to keep him grounded, but... oh, and a big backflip there. And Dirty Don just runs in with that clothesline. I think Dirty Don might be a little bit ahead on the scorecards if we are judging this. But there's still a lot of time. There is still 2 minutes left. And it's looking like all Dirty Don Cameron Lewis has got to do something big, and he's got to do something quick. But Dirty Don going for that knee bar heel hook, grounding the high flyer, just wrenching in a submission, running out the clock for Cameron Lewis. Smart maneuver. And as much as I hate him, I would expect nothing less from the BCW World Champion. He is a ring general. He has the highest ring IQ of anyone on the roster, and that's why he's the champ. And a big short DDT there, Cameron Lewis. He's got to do something. We are coming up to just about a minute left, and he hits him with that big knee strike. Coming up to a minute left. And Dirty Don kicks out. We are in the red zone of this Champions Challenge match. Less than 60 seconds. Cameron Lewis to the top rope. And he hits that frog splash one more time. About 40 seconds left. He's got lots of time. Could this be it? 1, 2. That's his finisher. Dirty Don kicks out. You can't waste time. You got 30 seconds left, kid. You got to do something else big. Dirty Don kicks him off. What's he going for here? Goes for the eye rake again, jamming those fingernails right in the eyes. And goes for the dirty driver. 10 seconds left. Can he hit it? Oh no, Cameron Lewis reverses. Cameron Lewis reverses, hits it with the big clothesline. Dirty Don rolls to the outside, runs out the clock. This one has gone the distance. A lot of action in those 10 minutes.
The time limit for this match has expired. Therefore, the match will officially be declared a time limit draw. However, we will go to the judges' scorecards for an unofficial decision. Our first judge scores the bout in favor of Cameron Lewis. Judge number 2 scores the bout in favor of Dirty Don. Our third and final judge scores the bout in favor for the winner by split decision, Dirty Don.
And there we go. The BCW World Champion comes out with the split decision. That was real close near the end there. Cameron Lewis made up a lot of points near the tail end. But in the end, the champ comes out with the win here tonight.
The following contest is your main event of the evening and will be a singles match.
And here we go, main event time, tail of the tape, Grizzly Mack versus Benson Hicks. And this one comes down to their singles records. Grizzly Mack 8-0, Benson Hicks 9-1. And both of these men have been facing top competition. They're not facing ham and eggers, they're not padding their records. But when you have 17-1 between these two competitors, that is all you need to know. The main event right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Grizzly Mack.
And here we go, a man that wants revenge against Benson Hicks, because at the last pay-per-view Random Draw 2, it was a triple threat #1 contenders match between Benson Hicks, Grizzly Mack, and Victor Payne. And in that three-way, Benson Hicks was able to beat Grizzly Mack. And ever since then, Grizzly Mack has been pissed. He has wanted Benson. And now with the added addition of that $1 million bounty, Grizzly Mack is coming in here to prove something. He wants to beat Benson Hicks. He wants to prove that three-way victory was a fluke. And he's got his shot here tonight.
He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed 220 pounds. He is a technical brawler and striker. From Dallas, Texas, he is the redneck, Benson Hicks.
And here we go. It was last time Benson Hicks faced Amir Man in the main event, and Amir Man came and jumped Benson Hicks prior to their match. So Benson, he is coming out here with a chair here tonight. Benson Hicks learning from his mistakes. It is a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So he's coming out here with the steel chair. And throws it down now because he has made his way to the ring successfully. He is pumped. He is amped up, ready to face Grizzly Mack and prove why he is the #1 contender. And here we go, the bell has rung, the match is underway. Main event of BCW 37, Grizzly Mack versus Benson Hicks, and this is truly a BCW style main event, putting two of the top competitors in BCW in the ring to see who is the better man. In DraftKings, they have their analysis here, and it is pretty much a pick'em. A slight advantage for Benson Hicks just because he is the #1 contender. But Grizzly Mack, he is undefeated in singles competition. So again, I think this is virtually a pick'em. It is dead even in terms of the betting odds. And Benson Hicks throwing those hands. As I mentioned, former Golden Gloves boxer. Super dangerous with those strikes. And Benson Hicks, normally not a top rope high flyer, but going for that cross body to the outside, and that's what he's known for, that big shot to the face. Benson Hicks coming out with the lead early, playing it up to the crowd. But when you got Grizzly Mack in your crosshairs, you want to pull the trigger ASAP. Because Grizzly Mack's so strong, one maneuver could change the whole tide of a match. And trading some reversals right there, and Grizzly Mack with that huge clothesline. And as we seen last week when Grizzly Mack faced Fancy Dan, Grizzly Mack is an absolute walking weapon. He is a one-man weapon of mass destruction, and he can hit some of these huge maneuvers because he is so strong, he is so powerful. Goes for the cover here. Only gets the two, but I think the one word that really defines Grizzly Mack is explosive. He can hit a maneuver out of nowhere just like that leaping pile driver. He can hit a move out of nowhere, and it is so explosive, so devastating. Grizzly Mack just shrugs him off and goes for the claw maneuver. This is his finisher. He's been putting people away. He's got the hand right over the face of Benson Hicks, crushing the skull, cutting off the air. Benson reverses it, though, jamming up that elbow, making Grizzly Mack think twice about going for that claw maneuver again in this match. A little malfunction at the junction. Benson Hicks, he might be woozy after that claw maneuver to the face. Might have affected his vision because he was wild there with that one. Oh, and Grizzly Mack just choking him now. Goozling the throat and choking the life out of Benson Hicks. Benson with that shot to the face. Oh, and these. Oh, look at these. That is going to do a lot of damage. Grizzly Mack did all that damage to the ribs of Fancy Dan last week, and that is a maneuver that could cause some severe damage to Benson Hicks' ribs. And Grizzly Mack, he is looking for the win just to prove something to himself, to prove something to Benson Hicks. But if he can do some of those moves and injure the ribs of Benson Hicks, forcing him to go on the injured reserve list, that would win Grizzly Mack that $1 million, because it would prevent Benson from getting the world title opportunity if he's injured. Grizzly Mack with some beautiful counters. Grizzly Mack, we always mention how he's so strong and so powerful, and I don't think we give him enough credit for just how technical he is, doing all these beautiful reversals, dodging with precision. But just again, right there, just not even needing technique on that one. I just put over how he's doing all this amazing technique, and then he just goes for the power. And speaking of power, that grip strength has got to be unreal from Grizzly Mack when you are that strong. Benson is not going to be able to peel off the fingers. The only way you were getting out of that one is doing exactly what Benson did, trying to jam up that elbow and just hit him with these shots right to the face. And to Benson's credit, every time Grizzly Mack goes for a big maneuver, Benson Hicks retaliates with something that makes him think twice, but making Benson think twice is that big spear too. Benson, he's clutching those ribs. He's holding that elbow real tight to the face. And Grizzly Mack just finisher spamming here. Could this be it? He's got to get those legs over the arm. He's got to get it and try and jam up that elbow. Otherwise, he's going to go nighty-night, and he's gone limp. Could this be it? Referee in perfect position. Checking out Benson Hicks. The life is being squeezed out of him. Benson able to get that leg up over the arms, get it over the head, put Grizzly Mack on his back, and wrench that elbow. And now Benson slowing it down, getting that headlock. Benson needs time to recover, and that's what he is getting right here. Grizzly Mack throws him off. Oh, and a kick right to the face. Soccer kick right to the face. There is no technique there. And speaking of no technique, that is a real ugly pile driver from Grizzly Mack. Oh, and Benson, now he's grabbing his head. That did a lot of damage. Grizzly Mack playing the mind games there, just taunting and flexing right in front of Benson Hicks, showing that he is not afraid of him. But that is a beautiful maneuver from Benson Hicks, bouncing him off the announce table and hitting him immediately with that elbow drop. Gable chaining moves together, but oh man, I cannot think of a scarier position to be in than being on your back with Grizzly Mack mounting you and just raining down those right hands. What does Benson have here? Manhattan drop. Doubles it up for double effectiveness. Stomping him here, now going for that big shot, that huge left right to the temple, trying to affect the equilibrium of a Grizzly Mack, and that is a smart maneuver from Benson. Grizzly Mack gets all his power and explosivity from being grounded and pinpointing his target. So if you can hit Grizzly Mack, oh, and a big uppercut there. If you could hit Grizzly Mack in the head, wobble him, affect that equilibrium, that could really affect how Grizzly Mack implements those attacks in a big maneuver off the top rope. Benson Hicks trying to pull out all the stops to put away Grizzly Mack. And he's going for that Alabama slam by way of Texas. Turn him in and out, but you got to go for a pin at some point. Those are a lot of big maneuvers. And speaking of big maneuvers, this is what he was setting it up for. Signature maneuver, the red, white, and bruised. It is that worm into that big elbow drop to the solar plexus that forces all the air out of your body. Can Benson get it done with the red, white, and bruised? And Grizzly Mack kicks out, and Benson can't believe it. That is Benson's signature maneuver. It's his finisher. He shot his best shot, and Grizzly Mack came out. Oh! Grizzly Mack came out of it, and Benson went for broke with that suicide dive. But much like Fancy Dan earlier in match 1 here tonight, Benson went for broke, and he just got jammed up real bad. Took all the risk and had none of the reward. Benson Hicks, he's got to be hurt now, and he's getting just worn out on the outside. I don't think either one of these competitors want a count-out win, but what they do potentially want is all those dangerous angles and surfaces on the outside. Very little padding. There's a lot of steel. There's a lot of metal out there, and Grizzly Mack just comes right back in and hits him with the rib breaker, really focusing on that midsection. 1, 2, Benson hand on the rope. The referee counted 3, but now he's reversing. He was throwing up the 2s. We're going to have to see what the referee's official decision is when we return after these messages. Well, we are back, and the referee has thrown out that first match. He did see the hand on the rope from Benson Hicks, and Grizzly Mack goes for the cover right here. Referee counted the 3, but at the last second, he saw that hand on the rope of Benson Hicks. Oh, and just biting his head right there. Grizzly Mack getting real vicious now. So both Benson and Grizzly Mack, they wanted this match to continue. The referee threw out the first match. This match has been restarted, so we continue exactly where we left off. Both these men, they do not want a victory like that. Both Benson and Grizzly Mack, they want that definitive win. Oh, and Benson with a huge kick, showing the flexibility to get his foot up that high, and now he goes for the twister. Benson Hicks, he beat Grizzly Mack in that triple threat match with a submission, and now he is locking in the twister, a very dangerous submission to the midsection. It wrenches that neck, it wrenches that torso, especially. You lock up that bottom leg. That is a maneuver we have not seen out of Benson Hicks. Benson coming out with some new stuff in order to try to beat Grizzly Mack in this one. And Grizzly Mack, he is undefeated in singles competition, so you got to come up with something. No one has cracked the code. There is no template. There is no formula for beating a Grizzly Mack. So Benson coming here with something new that he has not seen. Oh, and a rope break there. Grizzly Mack, I don't know if that was because he legitimately could not kick out, or if he was playing a little bit of a mind game with Benson, how Benson got his hand on the rope last time, and Grizzly Mack getting his hand on the rope this time. But regardless, Benson Hicks, he is setting up for his finisher one more time. The crowd is feeling it, he is feeling it, and Grizzly Mack is feeling that elbow all up in that solar plexus, forcing the air out of the lungs. Grizzly Mack still able to kick out though. And that is one advantage of having, oh, and a big, huge knockout shot. That could be it. Benson has sewn this one. Oh, I thought Benson sewn that one up. Grizzly Mack was seeing stars. He was looking at the lights on that one. But there is just something inside of Grizzly Mack, and this time Benson Hicks hits that suicide dive, took the risk, had all the reward this time, dealing double damage to Grizzly Mack. And this one started out all Grizzly Mack, but since this match got restarted, Benson Hicks is looking really good. The one flaw to a game plan of a Grizzly Mack would be his endurance. The longer this match goes, the more oxygen you gotta fuel all those jacked muscles with. And with Benson Hicks hitting that red, white, and bruise, that causes all the air to be rushed out of the lungs. I think the longer this match goes, the more it favors Benson. But conversely, as I say that, the longer this match goes, the more absolutely brutal punishment Benson Hicks is going to take from all those huge maneuvers of Grizzly Mack. So, and Benson went for the splash there, but missed. Kind of got the feet a bit. Definitely did not get all of it, but is it enough? And it is not. This match still continues, and this is what happens when it's two competitors at the very tippy top of the rankings, two of the best in BCW, combined 17-1 in singles record. This is what BCW is all about. This is what a BCW main event truly is, putting the best in the world and seeing who comes out on top. And I think that's why our sponsor, DraftKings, had such a tough time picking who was really the favorite. They basically had it as a dead even heat because both these men are so good. But can the third time be the charm? The third red, white, and bruise to the solar plexus? Will the third one be enough to put a Grizzly Mack away? 2? And it is not. What does Benson Hicks have to do to beat Grizzly Mack? That is 3 of his finishers, and it has not been able to put away Grizzly Mack. What more can you do? What more can any competitor do? And a big, huge spear there, that could be it. It put away Fancy Dan. Can it put away Benson Hicks? And Benson kicks out. Seemingly, there is not a move that can put either one of these men away. I don't know what we're going to have to see. These men are going to have to get hit by a Mack truck. They're going to have to get hit by lightning or something in this match. Because both men have an iron will. Both men do not want to bend to the will of the other. But eventually the body's going to have to wear out at some point. The mind can only go for so long. And a brutal shot there. Could that be the knockout shot? Could that be enough to put away Grizzly Mack? Benson nose to the grindstone, but noticeably getting frustrated. His Golden Gloves shots are not putting away Grizzly Mack. His submissions are not putting away Grizzly Mack. His 3 red, white, and bruise are not putting away Grizzly Mack. What can put away Grizzly Mack? And a big kick there to the face. And he's going for number 4. I mean, usually the third time is the charm, but he's going to go not for a 3-peat, but for a 4-peat here. 4 shots to the solar plexus. Can he seal the deal, or will Grizzly Mack kick out again? 2, and he got him. Benson Hicks finally getting the job done. No man has taken that many red, white, and bruise and lived to tell the tale. No man has taken 3. And I don't know if any man can take 4. Benson Hicks picking up a huge win tonight. But the number 1 contender, he is running the gauntlet. He is facing top competition week after week after week. How long can Benson Hicks keep this marathon rolling on for? We're going to have to wait and see in the coming weeks to find out. But regardless, he gets the job done here tonight. Benson Hicks defeats Grizzly Mack is the headline for this one. And wow, we got to catch our breath, but we kicked off action with a barn burner of an opener. Travis Watts coming out in his first ever singles match here in BCW. He defeats Fancy Dan, but I think he's got to give the assist to Grizzly Mack for taking Fancy Dan out the week before. And then we do not know what happened here tonight, but Dirty Don won by countout/forfeit here tonight against Mr. GM. Mr. GM no-showed his match, and I think there is more to that story than meets the eye. We're going to get an update on Mr. GM in the next episode. But then it was the Champions Challenge. Dirty Don winning by split decision. Dirty Don thought he had a cakewalk, thought he wasn't going to face Mr. GM. but Cameron Lewis came out and challenged him to that match. Came out on the losing end, but what a performance from Cameron Lewis. And then, speaking of our performance, it took not one, not two, not three, but four Red, White, and Bruised to beat Grizzly Mack. Benson Hicks, possibly the biggest win of his career here tonight.
On the next episode of Beyond Compare Wrestling.
And next week, Dirty Dawn is GM for the night. Are we in potentially the darkest timeline for BCW? It is episode 38, The Dirty Dawn Show. Tune in for that one. It is one that you do not want to miss. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.